Another suggestion, a drama in 7 parts. Any comments would be very gratefully received. This is part 1 continued. Just a brief summary. Reverend Present has come down to the nearest river to the parish with children and adults to be baptized, and it's dawn, and the group of congregants, Reverend Present and the yet to be baptized and other parishioners, when they walked down and to the riverbank, they carried a big full-sized wooden cross which they erected behind where they're all gathered, and Reverend Present is addressing them, especially addressing the about to be baptized, and he's just reminding them of the day they were fitted when they came into a large room, and where the cross that is now erected they lay down on and were measured, and so that now when you do there's a footrest that goes up and down on the cross, and when they stand on that footrest, it's adjusted so their arms exactly come out over the cross. So just to the last few or so, and when you do so stand on this footrest with your arms thus outstretched, each one of you will be able to feel how heavy the cross is, not only by the size and press of it against your back and your arms, but also by remembering how each one of you took a short turn in carrying it down here. But this cross is not as heavy as you think. In fact, even though it feels like the heaviest thing in the world, as heavy as the big heavy wooden yokes farmers used to and still do put on the shoulders of oxen, so that these oxen can drag the plough and make the plough's blades cut through the earth, this cross, this yoke, is in fact the lightest burden of all, because someone very special has carried it before you and stood on that very same footrest that you are now standing on. Not only that, but this very same special person has also stood there on that footrest on this very same day, Good Friday, that we are now breaking into on the banks of this river. And here's something else to think about. The people who watched that very special person standing on that footrest that day, all those thousands, many hundreds of years ago, thought that his arms, this very special person's arms, had been forced out along that horizontal beam and skewered into place with nails and ropes. Yes, they had. But as they continued to watch these people, there was something that they didn't realize at the time, and nor still do we, because the present is in the past as much as the past is in the present. What they, the past, and we, the present, did not and still do not realize is that this very special person's arms, as they were held there, thus transfixed in agony, were actually being held out to us in welcome and love. What they, the past, and we, the present, did not and still do not realize is that the nails and the ropes that they and we had skewered into place through his wrists were, as these nails ploughed their way through his flesh and into the wood, in fact, now locked, these nails, in a desperate last struggle to prevent something from happening. To prevent what from happening? Just this. To prevent this very special person's arms from completing their embrace, and from reaching out in welcome and love to every single human being who has ever lived, lives now, or ever will live. And what we still sometimes fail to realise is that this very special person's embrace succeeded. The embrace did not fail. And that is why you today can stand there on that footrest where he stood on this very same day, Good Friday, that he stood there, and hold out your arms in welcome and love too to all the people you see from your standpoint on that cross, and feel how incredibly light this lightest and sweetest of burdens has now become. But why a river? Why water? Why a drowning beneath the waves as the sun comes up through the trees? Why a white dove hovering over the water with an olive branch in its beak? An olive branch that falls into the water when the dove speaks and takes root on the riverbank as that cross towering above us. Why a brooding wind breathing gigantically over the waters and driving back the waves that flood over us and drown us? When we plant our acorn in the hole left behind by this cross that we have just raised up 30 minutes ago, the tree that then grows from this acorn will remind us of that white dove and that olive branch falling from its beak as the dove speaks, and that cross that we carried that was carved from the olive branch's wood, and that brooding, driving wind driving back the waters of the deep and saving us from the chaos of their drowning waves. We will call this tree our baptism tree because it reminds us of all these things.